Coach Buddy Pough's clothing is provided by Bill Owings Custom Clothing. Bill Owings Custom Clothing is a proud sponsor of the Buddy Pough Show.
All right, South Carolina State gets the ball, ironically, at the beginning of the ball game and at the beginning of the second half because of the decision by Hampton. And, of course, Coach, that was, I think, most unusual in that regard.
It was. I think they wanted to try to get the win, and they really ended up messing up a little bit and giving us the ball both times. But, you know, we ended up getting beat up on the kickoff return, so it kind of worked out for them. Then we come back, and you see Derek Wiley running the replay. You know, we get a yard or two here, but, you know, there for a while, it's really not going so well. And Malcolm makes a nice throw here, but now he comes back and throws a pick here. And they get the football right back down deep in our territory. So if they had known that this was going to be the case, maybe they did the right thing.
Hampton will take over, but South Carolina State's defense, as it's been all year, stiffens.
Yeah, well, we stiffen, but now LaMarcus Coker here runs for a first down on a 3rd and long play. And, you know, they end up getting the ball down close to our goal line here. I think Coker runs another 2 or 3 yard run here. No, this is actually Steve Robinson run the ball there, and then their kicker, the little Jordan Stovall kid from out in Columbia, out in Ridgeview area, ends up kicking a field goal for them.
Gets Hampton on the board, 14-3 South Carolina State. That was a 14-play drive for them, only 58 yards. You come right back, and Terrence Smith, his 4th catch of the day.
Yeah, Malcolm's got a nice little thing going here with Terrence, but, you know, we come back here and hit Chris Massey down the middle here for another nice game. So we actually got it going, but can't keep it going. We keep getting penalties and that kind of stuff that stops drives. I think we throw another interception eventually, but this is the play here where when they insert their safeties, we end up throwing the ball out in the flat because they don't have enough people to cover outside. And, you know, I don't know, and I can't quite remember whether or not this ball was behind Chris there or whether he just kind of dropped it, but, you know, the ball goes off his hand somehow or another, and they end up intercepting the ball and getting the ball back again.
Gives Hampton new life. And, Coach, they came with a version, I guess, of the Wildcat that most people call it, a generic name, and it gave us a few problems.
It did, and the reason being is that it adds another guy to the formula, adds another gap to the formula. You know, they kind of push us around a little bit because they're good, but almost everybody's bigger than we are. You see Coker here, you know, he runs the replay, he runs off the edge and gets a pretty nice gain there.
We head into the 4th quarter, leading 14-3, but Hampton has the football and they're driving deep in South Carolina State territory. This is Herbert Bonds, the quarterback, back in there, and reception here down to the 9-yard line. So now it's 1st and goal Hampton, and they pound it around, and eventually on 4th down, which I didn't think he got in.
Well, on this shot here, you can tell he did get it.
Yeah,
he got
he
it.
did. He
got it there pretty good
I was on the other side. Yeah, he did. He did. But it took him so long to call it, but that's another story.
Now, it did take him a long time to call it, but he was in. Our guys upstairs thought he was in from the very beginning. I hadn't quite figured out what their thought was on going for the 2 here. I guess they want to get within a field goal, but, you know, at that point, you know, then we got him stopped. Herbert goes in and makes a nice play, and gets hurt a little bit, gets his ribs hurt a little bit. You know, hopefully he can get going again this week. They kick off here. Kenny Smalls is getting to be a pretty good kickoff return guy.
Kenny Smalls has done a nice job, and there's a little play that you talked about. Malcolm back out to this time Trey Young on the reception.
Yeah, but we end up punting the ball again here, and you know they actually are down by what, about 4 points or so, maybe
14-9.
Yeah, 5 points, and you know it's really scary because they start to drive the ball on us again, and you know after they get the football and start moving it on us here, I'm really worried.
Steve Robinson on the carry, Donovan Richard on the tackle for South Carolina State. Hampton now back in South Carolina State territory. Bulldogs come up with a big play here. Bonds break free, but the whistle blew, so he was down with the sack back at 48. Then on 4th down, we have yet to figure out why they did this. Hampton fakes the punt. It was 4th and 19.
Yeah, Latarius Douglas looks like he's got the ball, you know, there. And I don't know exactly, we call it a turnover or what, you know, because it was 4th down anyway. But,
it was a brain freeze of some sort for somebody. And South Carolina State comes back, and, Coach, just like sharks, the Bulldogs seize the opportunity.
Yeah, there's a little blood in that water. We made a nice play here, and then Malcolm hits Christie twice, one over the middle and one on the what we call a smoke play here. And we get a touchdown here, which really puts the game away. And, you know, finally I can breathe a little bit.
Tell you what, we all were in that that mode. Again, South Carolina State. Again, you see the play once again. Christie, nice block out there on the outside. Trey Young, most people talk about him receiving. He does a good job blocking downfield.
He does. Trey keeps his body square, stays in the proper position, and as big as he is, he generally can kind of hold you off if he's in the right spot.
Blake Erickson, who's been punting and doing the place kicking on for the point after touchdown. I noticed Nate Smith came in to hold. Matt Washington's got banged up early, and Smith did a good job in a pressure situation.
Exactly. We had to move all those guys around. We had the Davis kid snapping, you know, the Smith kid then had to move from snapping to holding. And then at that point, you know, Blake banged it through.
And, Coach, the crowd on Saturday had to be very impressive for the kids to see that many folks make the trip.
We have about as good a following as anybody in our division. And, you know, it's fun to see our fans have a good time. So we try to go out and play good for them once they get there.
Matt Key on the rush just then. Hampton forced the punt to football, and they're just sort of playing out the string because that fourth down play took so much out of this football game. And, of course, we punt the football back, and then we get into victory formation, and South Carolina State gets the win, Coach. And this is when you're just glad to get out of town with a win.
Oh, I guarantee you, anytime you go into that place, and generally we've had a hard time there, and get a win, then, you know, then we're happy.
You're looking at the final stats for Saturday's game. South Carolina State, look at the time of possession. Hampton really controlled the time of possession throughout. Of course, that's not what counts at the end.
Well, you know, they generally don't put those in the score column, so, you know, we let them have that time of possession stat as long as we get more points.
So in any event, South Carolina State getting the win Saturday against the Hampton Pirates 21-9. The drive of the game for South Carolina State, we go back in two possessions, Coach, I guess, really stand out, but that 10-play, 80-yard drive was probably the most impressive from a standpoint of execution on the day.
It was the one time all day that we actually kept the ball for some time, and, you know, I think we had a couple of third down conversions here. This is Malcolm to Richard Christie. Christie makes a nice little catch and run here, and we come back, and Malcolm goes again over the top to Matt Washington, and Matt makes a nice gain here. I think this might have been a conversion play here also because there are a lot of plays that aren't in this clip, and then they throw the offside play to Terrence Smith, and he breaks a play and makes a guy miss and scores.
That was the way it ended on Saturday. South Carolina State a winner 21-9 over the Pirates. We will tell you what is up next for your South Carolina State Bulldogs when we come back on this edition of the Buddy Pough Show.
Orangeburg area Bulldog fans, join us at the End Zone Bar and Grill for the Coach Buddy Pough radio show every Thursday evening from 6 to 7. The show will be broadcast live on Old School 102.9 FM. You're invited to phone in or email your questions for Coach Pough.
I get asked a lot.